Welcome to Raw Living Radio, where world-renowned leading-edge speakers, doctors, scientists, authors, and lifestyle experts share highly valuable weekly coaching tips, recipes, and empowering information about adding more raw living plant foods to your diet to improve your health, decrease your ego footprint, and raise your consciousness. This is Laura Sharia Fox, Executive Director of Best of Raw and the Raw Living Expo, and I'm happy to introduce your hosts, Mistress Hava, Clementine Libre, and Nathan Crane. I do indeed hope you enjoy the show. Good afternoon, everybody. It's your Mistress Hava here. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Raw Living Radio. I am flying solo today with our wonderful guest, part 2 with Dr. Robert Cassar. And without further ado, I'd love to reintroduce Dr. Robert Cassar. Many of you listening listened in on part 1, and we had such a fun time talking a lot about electrical conductivity and how to really take these, as I love how Dr. Cassar calls them, our cyboricus organicus, these amazing bodies and spirits of ours to the next level. And so, yeah, we're going to get in a little deeper today. Hello, Dr. Cassar.
Hello. Thank you for having me on again.
Yes, I've been so excited for part 2. We had so much fun last time. And so everybody go rawlivingradio.com and listen to part 1 if you haven't. And, yeah, we're going to get a little deeper today. Dr. Cassar, we were getting a little bit into the 20 points you had for the parts of our lives we need to start tweaking to really get these bodies and these these vessels in tip-top shape, from sleep to oxygen to, the packaging of our food and the minerals and lymph and all that. And today we were going to get a little, more nuts and bolts and talk about like 7 and see how far we get. But you had 7 new pieces of this beautiful puzzle to share with us. I watched your skin cleansing, the gouacheing, which was fascinating. And you had a friend with you doing that, and Clementine's really excited to do this too. Can you talk a little bit more about that one?
Well, I mean, that's part of this whole, we call terrain modification. It's a metamorphosis of many different departments of your not only internal self, but your external environment, your external, as you were talking about, your external skin, which is the largest organ of your body. And so we're going to start to remember the body's not that smart. It's the organs that run the body, and the skin is one of the largest, or is the largest organ of the body. Okay? So it would be very important for us to be able to understand, what does the skin do? We all think that the skin is just to sort of like protect us. It's got hairs on it and it sweats a little bit. But what is the skin? The skin is an organ. The skin keeps the outside world from entering inside the world of our system, our galaxy. Okay, so when we look inside our body's made up of 100 trillion cells, and the skin is basically what protects our little bubble from the outside world. When you get a cut, when you have on your foot or your hand, or you have gingivitis, when you have gum disease, remember, this is how the parasites, the fungi, the mycobacteria, these are how these creatures try to get inside our bodies, just like anything that's trying to live. It's all trying to find a house. If you don't have a house, what do you want? You want shelter. Okay? So this is exactly, our skin is basically the sort of like the roof and the sidewalls of our house. So keeping it not only clean, but keeping it so it actually functions and has functionability is one of the bigger pictures here, because remember, the organs run the body. And if the skin, once we find out that the skin runs our immune system, the skin runs our hormonal system, the skin is realistically our bigger and better way that we actually breathe, our radiator, our body, it sweats. And I go to the gym all the time, and I see a lot of people, and this is what the gouacheing, I call it, does. It opens up the skin pores, because I see a lot of people exercising with me, and they're not sweating a drop, and I've sweat 5 pounds. Okay, so if your skin is plugged, you're in trouble. You just don't know that your skin, people putting antiperspirants on. And what's an antiperspirant? If you smell, it just means that you're toxic inside, and it usually means that you have some type of not only toxicity that you've accumulated, but most likely you have some toxicity that's in your diet. So
right.
a lot of people I notice, they eat a lot they think garlic's good for you. They think white onions are good for them. They think green onions are good for them, and they're not. Okay.
Oh, why not? I eat all of those.
Well, if you're going to have any onions at all, you have purple onions only: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. The purple onion. You never have white onion, garlic, or green onion. And you'll notice that anybody that does, they'll start to smell BO-ish, because the smell you're smelling is the toxicity that comes out of the body through the lymph system, and it's called sulfone hydroxylion. And sulfone hydroxylion is that's why you'll notice if you're a gardener, nothing eats garlic, nothing eats white onions, and nothing eats green onions ever. Nothing will eat them.
Wow.
Okay, and they found this out back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I know that Laura Fox and some other people have been putting cutting white onions in half and leaving them around the house to absorb toxins in the air.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they do also. I mean, one thing, but what they're really good for is to be able to put in your garden, and that's part of your insecticide and pesticide and sort of protection to the rest of your garden, as you put garlic, white onions, and green onions sporadically through your garden, and you don't eat them, but you let them do what they do, is they make bugs so they cannot navigate. See, they're neurotoxic is what they are. They will clean. You can take garlic and squirt it, put an oil and squirt it on your plants, or just get some ants or get some low invertebrate, any bugs. And garlic is a severe poison. What it does is it doesn't kill them physically, but it kills them mentally, and they just basically go in circles. It makes them dumb. Okay, so this was found out many years ago by Dr. Robert Beck, who used to have Alpha Centronics. This has been done back in the 70s, and they find out that sulfone hydroxylion, what it does is it makes you about 2.78 times called the seat of your pants reflex. It causes that reflex not to happen. So if you're going to fly a fighter for the United States government, if you have sulfone hydroxylion in your blood, they won't let you fly. It's because now you can't fly by the seat of your pants, by the secondary reflex. You have to use your mind. See, telepathically, if you go ahead and go to any school of higher learning, that's why they don't want any garlic, white onions, or green onions. Not only the offensive smell. So if you smell like BO, it's because you're eating these things. And for some reason, it took me a year to get sulfone hydroxylion out of my armpits and out of my, you can scratch the top of your head or your crotch and you can smell the sulfone. It comes out in all lymph areas. And so the smartest thing to do is don't have it. See, the only way, because people aren't going to really listen to this because they're thinking, that's good for you. All the stuff that's garlic's supposed to be good. It cleans your blood. Well, it does. What it does is it kills things in your blood, but it makes you telepathically really inept. Okay, and the only way we can tell that is if you get an EEG, an electroencephalogram, and you put a little, you put some temporal, it's basically how you check the brain, is to be able to check the brain waves. Don't have garlic for a month and just put a piece in your shoe and go on an EEG, and you'll find out that it totally synchronizes the brain. Totally. Okay, so so what we're really trying to do is we're trying to get the left and right side of the hemisphere. See, really once we get through this healthy, getting from sickness to health, and then you start going from health to optimization, which is the second category. What else is there to do once you figure out optimization is the game? Well, the third game is consciousness. Mm-hmm. And so the last thing we want to do is pervert our consciousness by putting in certain types of things in our diet that would cause our left and right hemispheres to be dysfunctional with one another. It's very basic. Okay?
Right.
This information has been hidden for many years. Remember, how do you control 7 billion people on this planet? It's not easy. It's really hard. The disinformation is maximum. You really can't believe anybody. And so it's nice, just like you guys are doing, with the summit. See, I really try to work with people that are experiential, not just book readers, and they're just parroting other people's information, because a lie can go from generation to generation, and after several generations, it's the truth. So, you know, this is a work in progress, as I always say, okay? And a work in progress means that what we do today definitely may change tomorrow, and that's good, because we don't have foundations that are built out of stone. We have foundations here that are built to be dynamic. We're here to be able to advance and expand what we do know, and advance and expand what we do not. There's no ego here. It's not like, oh, I figured it out. No, guys, how about this? We need your help to help us expand this information, okay? And so it's like, you know, doing the radio shows is really good to stimulate people and give them inspiration. Okay, and I'm just doing this from my heart. Are you guys paying me to do this? No. Okay? No, I just volunteer. All my videos are free. I'm not selling DVDs, or I'm not trying to make money off of this system, which, of course, there's nothing wrong. Everyone's got to figure out how to make a living, but it's coming from my heart, all this stuff. For me to be able to do research and experimentation, that's all I've done for the last 25 years. Seen over 100,000 patient office visits, and you really can't help anybody. You have to be able to have people want to help themselves and give them the right choices so they could actually feel that what they're doing is not being pushed into it, but what they're doing is that they are moving into something that they feel that they have navigated somewhat because they've gotten choices. So the skin, to get back with this again, remember the skin gets plugged with garlic. It gets plugged. And so if anybody has that stinchy, I call it the hippie smell, okay, or if you're not from the hippie side of the fence, the football smell. Okay, if you're not from that, it's called the people that are sick smell, okay? Every system has it because almost everybody eats garlic. So stop eating wheat, corn, and soy for 6 months.
Yep.
Just stop it, everybody. I don't care if it's organic or not. And stop having white onions, green onions, and garlic and see what happens to you. Number one, you won't smell anymore. And if you do, you take the same liquid that we share with people how to make this alcohol. We have two different alcohols. One that's an acid solutional alcohol made with fulvic acid. And I have all the recipes and stuff on our website. Just go on earthshiftproducts.com and go under skin recipes, skin cleaning recipes, and you'll see right there. These are elixir tonics made out of triple and better distilled vodka. And you don't use the vodka that's in the plastic bottles. If you do, you take it out of the bottle before.
Yeah.
What's that?
You're just putting toxins back in your system, aren't you, if you're using a plastic bottled liquid?
Well, remember, the alcohol's pretty super strong, and you don't want to store anything that's alcohol-based in plastic, even though PETE #1 plastic is really super strong. The very top lids on the plastics, you know, when you pour the vodka out, the little piece that makes it so it doesn't spill all over the place, that's made out of a really cheap plastic we found, even #5s and #7s. So the bottle may be pretty good, but the top piece, so all those alcohols, you just have to, basically what I do is you go to Costco, 6 times distilled vodka, and you then look up the skin cleaning recipes on earthshiftproducts.com. Everything there is made for people. Remember, it's not just selling goji berries. We're there selling super discount to people so they could actually have a ton of things under one roof, free shipping, to having a super discount. People have no idea that they need to take iodine. You can take it in sea vegetables. And if you don't like those, because a lot of people that aren't healthy don't like the flavor of sea vegetables, if not, use our transdermal iodine. You don't take iodine from the mouth. You put it on your wrist, rub it together, and in 2 hours that color goes away, and a drop will do you. 3 times, 4 times a week, it'll keep your thyroid full.
Wow.
Okay? Remember, the skin is very, very important to clean. And so what we do is, number one thing is, that's one of the we talked about adding some terrain modification. Number 21 is skin cleaning and gouaching. I call it gouaching because I got in trouble by using the word gua sha. I've even had, like I said, some people call me up and want to They want to throw dull spears at me, saying that I'm perverting their ancient culture. So yeah, pretty weird. And you should see some of the letters I get from people. I mean, all really super good ones. And once in a while, you get some nut that says that I'm, giving out the secrets of their profession. And they're really bent out of shape with me because they said that that's not cool. We go to school to learn this, and you're teaching people things that people should be coming to us to learn, really. So, yes, that's a scarcity-based move, of course, because, all of the, anything that basically should have anything that moves the collective, it should have some form of not how much money do you have, can you listen to this information, it's do you have, or do you want to volunteer to become more human? Do you want to volunteer to get healthy, wealthy, happy, and wise? And wise means that, you gotta do the work. It's not something it's not something you just fall into. You got to do the work. So let me just finish this one little part about skin cleaning here. The skin cleaning and gouaching, as I call it, like I said, you can get the recipes on earthshiftproducts.com. Go to skin, just go to recipes, and you'll see the two. One is acid or recipe, and the other one's an alkalinity recipe. And what you do is you switch off. Start with the acid one, and then the next week you use the alkaline one. Okay, and you switch off back and forth because each one will open up the pores a different way. And we've done several different videos because this is something, remember, it's all an experiment. Everything's a work in progress. What I'm showing people is a probably about 15 years of information that we've all put together to make it so it's way simpler and not really over the top for most people. Now, the skin, like I said, you use the same solution to clean your skin with, and what you do is you get yourself a spray bottle, and you take 50% silica. You can use water if you don't have the silica, but the living silica we have, because you want the silica in the, when you dilute it, you take 50% of the alcohol, and you take 50% silica, and you put it in a spray bottle, and every time your armpits smell, you spray, bring a little towel with you, spray it on there, and just wash that stuff off. But quit putting the sulfone hydroxyl ion, no more garlic, no more white onions and green onions. Get it out of your system. Okay? And this is one of the things that you'll notice when you really clean your skin, without even gouaching, just by cleaning it and really rubbing the skin good and then putting magnesium, remember, it's this transdermal magnesium. You're going to rub it in with coconut oil and really rub it in because it goes in transdermally by friction. And once you do that, you just wiped off billions, not millions, billions. I could say trillions, but we'll just say billions because that's big enough for most people's minds. Billions of creatures that live not only on the skin, but live in the pores. So, and if you're, pretty light-skinned, let's say, blue-eyed, okay, and people, like I've seen some people here on the Big Island, and they're funny, they got, boy, I said, wow, look at you, boy, you got red today. And he goes, the sun hates me. I said, the sun hates you because you have what lives on your skin doesn't like the sun. So yeah. I've been doing this for years. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say they probably have chemical sunscreens on their skin as well.
Well, this is what happens. See, whatever lives on your skin, the sun, okay, remember, doesn't just live on your skin. These are very high-level microbes that live in the pores, and skin is like, remember, like the skin on your car. It keeps the rain from coming in. It keeps the cold. It's a thermal reactor. It's basically like the shell, the armor plating of your body. And it is also housing trillions of creatures from your feet to your hands. And that was one of the workshops that I did at the Raw Living Expo, was showing people how to take this same alcohol. All you're going to do is add 8%, about 2 tablespoons of 8% hydrogen peroxide, and you soak your hands and your feet for an hour in big Ziploc baggies after you've washed them out to get the little residue of the Ziploc baggies out. And clean your cuticles, clean the dead material that comes off your feet, just sand it off. And this is where all of a sudden you feel like you just got resurrected, because not only now have you wiped out billions, let's just get normal here, let's get the truth, trillions of passengers hanging on you. You will not burn anymore. You may get red, but you will not burn. Remember, what lives on your skin is what burns you. It's not you that burns.
Your hands and feet.
What's that?
Just from doing your hands and feet.
Well, no, you got to do your whole body too, but the hands and feet have to do with the flow of circulation. Because remember, that's number 2 in our terrain modification is flow and conductivity. Remember, your heart pushes blood out of your aorta. It then goes to what's called an arteriole, which is smaller. It then goes into the hands and the feet into what's called capillaries, which capillaries only let one red blood cell in at a time. And if it's plugged with plastic, if it's plugged with heavy metals, if it's plugged with just a slow, sluggish system because it's dehydrated, you can see that flow is a problem. So the hands and the feet have a lot to do with, especially the feet. The hands, you touch a lot of junk, but you wash your hands. But your feet, they're constantly being squeezed by tight shoes. They're constantly being in toxic petroleum glued shoes, walking in bare feet. Okay? People call those hard things calluses. Guys, that's not callous. Wipe it off. That's not who you are. And you'll notice the first time you soak your feet, they may peel for like 2 weeks, and you don't do the foot soaking again until basically your feet, survive that, because what it is, it's like napalm to the microbes that live in your feet. And not only that, a lot of people walk in their bare feet and they get hookworms from walking in bare feet. Hookworms. And if you haven't seen what those look like, they are pretty bad arse. They're alien systems that got teeth like a great white shark, and they're tiny, and they crawl in through your skin, especially through your feet. And they make a house inside your intestinal tract and suckle blood and poop inside the body. And most people that are listening to this right now, vegetarian, carnivorian, doesn't matter. Most likely you got them. Okay? And so a lot of people...
So walking with bare feet like they're walking on pavement, they're walking...
Mm-hmm.
Where
you get it in the dirt. You get it in the dirt.
Okay.
Yeah, you get it in the dirt, you get it in the grass, laying on your body in the grass, and all of a sudden you're itchy when you get up, and you go, geez, how come I'm so itchy? Because there's billions of critters trying to get inside your machine.
Oh, wow.
Billions. Mm-hmm. So this is pretty weird, though, but remember, this is what we're trying to do here, terrain modification, is not get scared. Not to say, oh, Dr. Cassar, you're saying too much, my head hurts. No, guys, you are a superorganism. You are a multidimensional, multifractional system. And many other organisms want to have a house, and they want to use us as their house. So let's get smart. Let's put up our kryptonite shield so these microbes cannot penetrate inside our system. So we clean up not only our environment. I mean, realistically, a lot of people have animals in their house. It's not too smart. Okay, it's just not. Most animals are loaded full of hair mites, and if they are, most people say, I don't really care. Well, then get diatomaceous earth. We sell that on our internet site. It's called fossil shell flour, and you take this very fine, they look like glass under a microscope. They're called diatoms. That's why it's fossil shell flour. They're fossilized shells of diatoms, and diatoms are made out of silica. And silica is I'm wearing a crystal necklace around my neck, and it's made up of silica. And it's the number 8 hardness, and diamond's the 10. So it's almost as hard as a diamond. So these are very finely ground up, and what you do is you sprinkle this in their beds. You put this in your pillows. You put it on your bed. Okay, I put it in also in the vodka solution to be able to scratch up the skin a little bit. And it doesn't scratch it like you think, but what it does is it's like fine rubbing compound on your car, and what it does is it's taking off a sheet that of whatever's living on your skin. Basically, now has a hard time because you're scraping it off. So, yeah, there's so much to talk about, but let's go to the next layer here now. Skin cleaning and washing is number 21, and this is one of the other reasons also. We've opened up a small little school for people to be able, because I can't share a lot of this stuff on the internet. It's too sensitive. There's too many systems here that bang it down because they make money off of our sickness. They make money off of selling us all these lotions. Make money off. Just go to the store. I don't care if it's Costco, Vons, Rite Aid, and just go down the lotion line and pick out look at the ingredients in that stuff, from aluminum silicates to all these different things. If you can't say it and pronounce it, then why would you put it on your skin? Because if your skin is not plugged, it's going to eat it. It's going to go right in. Okay, so this is one of the reasons being why we use the alcohol is to get clean. And once you get clean, don't put that junk on you anymore. Put coconut oil. Coconut oil has lauric acid. And lauric acid, our coconut oil is spun like through a washing machine. You can press it, but you don't really, it's not as clean of an oil. You spin it and you get more lauric. Lauric acid is what makes coconut oil like genius. And so you put the coconut oil on with magnesium. And again, same, most magnesium, transdermal magnesiums are diluted. Ours is, I'm not trying to keep pushing all these things, but this is this is the only way I know how to teach people, is be able to find not only the products, give them the best deal on them, and make sure that they're using, like they're sort of using us as like a Consumer Reports, because there's so many people out there that are niching these products and niching things. And you don't have to counterfeit money. You can just counterfeit food. You can take magnesium if you want to and dilute it down to 12% instead of have 31% concentrate. And you can dilute it yourself. Okay, so most people, remember, they're not really understanding. So it is once you find somebody you feel like you can trust a little bit, then you have to sort of, and once you get going on this, then you can sort of get your own motor going on your own. It's just that starting, is definitely, because you feel like sometimes you got tripped a little bit because there's so many people trying to sell you bloody well everything. And it's like confusing. So what do you do if you're confused? Nothing. You just stop.
So what's the combination of coconut oil and magnesium? What does that do?
Well, what you do is, see, the magnesium forces, magnesium is really genius, and it burns your skin just a little bit. It's okay. It's because you have open cuts. It's like putting alcohol on your skin, and if it hurts, it's because you got open sores. It's like taking peppermint or clove oil. I put that on my body every day, and a woman should do that every day under her armpits. Because remember, the lymph system, upper outer quadrant, is where people get these lymphoma, these breast cancers, all these lymph stagnations from wearing bras, from using underarm deodorant with aluminum and all these different chemicals. If you have to use underarm deodorant, it's because your diet is not good. And it doesn't mean, just because you're organic doesn't mean your diet's good. Remember, take the garlic out, take the green onions and the white onions, and no wheat, corn, and soy for 6 months. And I guarantee you, after 6 months, you will not smell any time ever again. And you clean your skin once a week with alcohol to wipe off all the, I call it the pus that comes out of the pores. And one of the best things, remember, anybody can do is daily. As soon as you get out of the shower, you put 2-3 squirts of the magnesium on your hand, rub your hands together, and you rub them really fast so you feel that magnesium starts to heat up, and you go, okay, boy, this stuff's getting warm. Then you take a little coconut oil and you rub your hands together again, and you put it on from head to toe, face, everything. You can even spray the magnesium in your hair, like on a Saturday night or whatever, if you want to go ahead. And the magnesium, what it does is it terrain modifies the pores. It pushes the coconut oil, the lauric acid inside, and what it does, whatever's living in those pores. Remember, we have hundreds of thousands of pores on our body. Pores. So let's think of a pore as like the Queen Mary ship, and you have a room that has a porthole, and you open up that window, and if the window's open, that means that the air can flow through. If not, let's say you're in Hawaii and you close that porthole, it's going to get black mold in that room. And this is what happens to the pores. The pores are filled full of anaerobic, not aerobic, anaerobic organisms, or organisms that will live without oxygen, and they are our nemesis, and what we want to do is wipe them off our system. I even put the magnesium in my ear after I clean out my ears. These are different videos. How do you clean your hands, your feet? That's one thing. How do you clean your gums? How do you clean your ears? And inside your ear to a microbe is the size of California, 35 million people. Basically like the size of the United States, 300 million, because there's way more bacteria in your middle ear than 300 million. So once every week or 2 weeks, I take 3% food-grade hydrogen peroxide. I'm not telling anybody to do this, and if it hurts your ears, guys, only number one is because you got cuts in there. You never use Q-tips in your ears, ever. If you're going to use them on the outside. If not, you don't push that material in. You use a little spoon and you scoop it out. Or you can use a bulb and you can wash it out with warm water. And I put hydrogen peroxide on each side and let it bubble for like a minute and a half. It'll bubble. The bubbles will come out of my ear. And that's the bubbles oxidation. Then I'll go ahead and put in like 50% magnesium and 50% silica. Remember, that's my spray bottle. I can go ahead and mix that down to you. You don't have to use full strength. We sell things in full strength because you're trying to give people the best deal instead of just selling water. But anytime you want to dilute any of these pure, like the magnesium, or if you want to even dilute the fulvic, you only dilute it if you can, not with water. You dilute it with silica.
Oh,
okay, so.
Okay. Out the hydrogen peroxide, like I have 35% food-grade hydrogen peroxide. How would I dilute that to make it a solution for my ears?
Well, this is so people got to understand. 35% hydrogen peroxide is very dangerous. If you put that in your ear, it'll kill you. It'll basically kill your eardrum. If you swallow that, it could kill you. It'll shut your throat shut. Some people actually give themselves enemas. When I used to work at the hospital, a guy came in and he says, I used 20 drops of 35% hydrogen peroxide and I put it in 4 ounces of water. I gave myself an enema. And that's why he's in the hospital. Remember that. Okay,
oh, wow.
Women have done the same thing with a vaginal douche. 3% is the maximum you want to use, and you can use 3%. And so what 35% is, I just did a small video on this. This is not for YouTube, but this is for our eartheracademy.com. This is for our private little school for people to be able to see, and it didn't cost anything. It's very simple. Trying to make this so people can learn reasonable and logical biological ways to take care of themselves, self-treat. So you take the 35%, and if you have a tag or skin tag or a lot of people can't go to the dermatologist and get charged $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000, $5,000 to take off some skin tags because that's what it costs, or a plastic surgeon. So this is one of the ways. I used to work for a plastic surgeon for 2 years. This is one of the ways that showed me basically that this is very simple for people to do. You take like a small piece of number 400 sandpaper, and you sand the mole, or you sand the skin tag. And so what you do is you rough up just the skin tag only, or the mole. And then you take a Q-tip, an organic Q-tip, because a lot of the non-organic Q-tips have weird preservatives, including mercury they found in them. So you take an organic Q-tip, and you take the 35%, and you just dip it in, and then you just barely touch the mole. And it'll turn bright white, and it'll hurt a little bit too. And then what you do is you sort of move it around only on the mole, and you'll turn the mole pure white. Do that a couple of times and leave it alone. 2 or 3 days later, check it out and watch it and see what it looks like. If it needs more, it's only because it didn't scab up. And if it does scab up, most likely in about 4 or 5 days, it'll just fall off. So this is one of the ways I got rid of all my little skin tags that I had, warts that I had on my fingers from when I was a kid from frogs and their viruses. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Number 22 is acid reduction massage / lymphatic drainage / yoga / stretching actively and passively. So this is a big terrain modification department, just showing people how to do acid reduction massage. It's not getting a hand massage. It's actually, once the body's skin gets open, once the lymph system gets soft, then it's ready to be able to be pushed around to see if we can get it to get out of the lymph, which is right under the skin. So people understand, they don't understand what the lymph is. The lymph has many more times the amount of fluid than the blood has. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So the blood, we only learn about when we go to school, okay? And, when you go to the lymph system, the lymph has more fluid, and it is the filtration of the body. And this is the filtration, not the kidneys. The kidneys are fine filtration. That's blood. This is the body's filtration, and it's filtered out of the body through the pores. And so those people sweating in the classes that don't have their pores open, they're just overheating because their radiator will not sweat. The only animals I know on this planet that don't sweat are reptiles. And then once they get hot, they got to go in the shade. So we're mammalian, reptilian hybrids. And so since we're part reptilian, we don't understand that, but we do have a reptilian brain. It's the first brain formed. We are also mammalian. Okay. We are also bird. Bird is another name for the magnetic part of the brain. Birds don't need a map to navigate their flight. They got it down. There's no maps. They just follow the ley lines. We are amphibian also. Hey, we did breathe in Mama's womb, and I have one friend that can actually he shows me how he can breathe and remembers how to breathe underwater. Very cool, Jerry. You're lying to me. Do it for 10 minutes right here. No, I guess you're not lying to me. Wow. How did you do that? He says, that's what the didgeridoos for. You're learning how to be able to rebreathe. The water goes through your sinuses and comes back around again. You don't breathe it into your lungs. And look at all the bubbles that just keep coming up and coming up and coming up because he's filtrating out the oxygen, and not pure salt water or not pure fresh water, but a brackish water, more or less like our bodies are. We're a little bit salt and a little bit fresh. We're not salt water or fresh water. We're physiological salt. Yeah. Anything you want to introduce or interact with anything? Because I can keep, I keep talking and talking because I got a lot of stuff to go over.
I just love this. I could listen to you all day. Yeah. So what's next? The
lymphatic drainage, once we get to acidic acid reduction massage, and people say, what's that? This is to push out the acidic lymph. I've had 1,500 hours of acid reduction massage. Good friend of mine, Sylvia Rico, we have devised over just years on how to be able to get out this hardened pus. Remember, the lymph system lives right under the skin. It is the balloon that encompasses the whole body, and there's thousands of these little glands around your neck, around your armpits, around your groin, and the grand filter called the cistern is between your shoulder blades. That's why when people have a lot of stiffness between their shoulder blades, their lymph system is just jam-packed, solid, clogged. Tension between the shoulder blades is because the lymph system's just overloaded. So this is where, the magnesium on the skin every day in coconut oil and doing gua sha in the shower. I'll show, there's different, these are different videos that, remember, this is just to give people ideas. There's no real way to do any of this, guys. Everything's an experiment. You're a researcher as you get up in the morning. No matter what you do, you're researching, okay? And so this is a work in progress, and I found out that the only way to open up the pores is really to work on it daily, because just think of your body has thousands of pores, and each pore, each little hole that just look at your hand, you can see all these little holes. Each pore has a cord of 4 feet that goes to the lymph system. And so that's usually plugged with a variety of things that we put on our skin, from soaps, detergents, just perfumes, just dirt, grime, microbes living inside those pores. And which types of microbes live in there? Anaerobic. They live in the pores. And so the magnesium goes in, and it's sort of like napalm. And what it does is if you burn a little bit on your skin, guess what you're feeling? These are nerves that these microbes live in. And if you're feeling sometimes a little burning sensation, well, it's what lives in your skin, what's hard, it's like hardwired into your neural system, is you're feeling what they feel. Ouch. Okay? Because these creatures live in our nerves. Let's go into this one little spot here now, because this is important for people to grab. The next one is called emotional body reconstruction. The emotional body is 80% of the energy that flows through our body. Energy and motion, emotions. And so we are hit by a variety of different electrical magnetics. I don't care if it's extremely low frequencies, which are mind controlling, or electrical magnetic fields, which are on telephones, everything that you can imagine that's electronic. So do not put your computer on your laptop on your lap. It's a laptop? Really? Told you that. Okay? That's not smart because it's kicking out 100 milligauss, and 100 milligauss is an opposite energy of what we are, and what it does is it just sucks us dry. It takes away our ethereal energy and it makes our emotional body become very dysfunctional. So you see a lot of people in the city. What's that?
I just took it off my lap.
No, that's what it is. I'm telling you, but these are booby traps. Okay? And as a scientist, as a researcher, as an experimenter, we are all scientists. We are all researchers. We are all experimenters. Let's don't show what we think we know. Let's show what we know we know. And so our cell phones are not cell phones. They are microwave transmitters. And once we see that, you don't put that thing up to your head, guys. What are you doing? Your brain, that's called the supercomputer. Don't make it dysfunctional with garlic, white onions, and such. But that's only the physical part. What about the ethereal part? The part you can't see, feel, hear, or touch, the invisible. That's the electrical magnetic fields. This is the emotional body. Eckhart Tolle will tell you about one of the bodies here, which is very important. He calls it the pain body, and I have another layer of that called the parasite body. And the parasites that live in our bodies, they live in certain frequencies and certain vibration or certain resonant values. And once they're inside us, they don't want to leave. They will manipulate our energy fields to be able to make it so we can't change, because they won't let us. Because if we change our vibrational tune, and you have to do it very slowly, remember, they slowly took away our tunes, and we helped them, of course, with our laptops, with our cell phones up to our head. Living in an apartment, if you live in an apartment, the whole apartment's poisonous from all the electricity from upstairs and downstairs, from the walls and all the Wi-Fi. All you have to do is get a tri-field meter and put it on and walk around, and you'll say, whoa, I need to get out of here. Of course, you just don't know it. So, these are things, and a lot of things, we're stuck. We can't move, we can't do this, because, I can complain and show you, problems, reactions, but what's the simple solution? If you live in an apartment, you need to get a silver Faraday cage, like $300. You can get them for EMF for less. Okay? It sort of looks like a mosquito shield, and you put that over your bed so you can shield yourself, ground yourself. But you can't just plug yourself into the wall if you live into, because a lot of people ground themselves that way. There's also a filter that takes out the dirty electricity, the dirty ground, because most grounds are dirty. And because if you just ground your blanket or ground your bed to the ground that's in the apartment or in the house, most of those grounds are dirty. And so that's not smart either. But one of the best things I found out for people to do is wear a crystal. And we import these crystals. They're cheap. They're $10 a piece. When I used to go ahead and make them, they cost me $20 a piece just to drill a hole in them at the jewelers. So I get them made in Brazil, like 10,000 pieces at a time, and you wear a crystal around your neck. And I forgot to send you guys. I wanted to be able to send you and Clementine one. I didn't send it to you last time I told you I would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you wear it down on your front of your chest. Okay, you don't wear any metal jewelry at all. Why? Because if you live in electrical magnetic fields, this is how the emotional body gets torn up. Energy and motion, 80% of the energy that lives in the emotional body is manipulated by electrical magnetics. It's manipulated by parasites. It's manipulated by poisons. It's manipulated by just being dry. Once you're dry, chronically dehydrated, your body then basically accumulates a higher percentage of less dilution of flow. Remember, the whole idea to becoming healthy, wealthy, happy, and wise is to have dynamic flow in your system. You've got to drink. I try to share with people to drink 1 ounce of water, clean water, per pound. If you weigh 150 pounds, you drink 150 ounces every day. Okay? And one of the best things people can do, too, is actually, and this has got big controversy over it, but is get a steam distiller, pure steam distilled, and you drink that, and that super takes out a lot of inorganic solids that have accumulated in our bodies. So that's a whole other video and another thing. And like I said, I don't like to talk to people about these areas because what happens is that we're providing ideas and treatments, and I'm not here to treat anybody. I'm only a student. I'm not here as anybody that's paying for my professional services. I just know that this is information that is very valid and has a lot of efficacy, and there's a lot of dysfunctional non-truth on the internet, and even from the people that we believe that are giving us the truth, because once you get to a certain size, usually they, the information that you're talking about has a biasness to it, because there's the silent watchers that are watching everything, and they only sometimes let us stay in business is because we don't step on too many toes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you recommend a combination of waters? You're talking about having a distiller. Do you recommend people drink like a combination if they're around a spring, having some
spring water I would stay away from because of the inorganic minerals. See, this is the problem with spring water. Spring water are rock minerals, and rock minerals, I show this. That was one of the 2-hour, I think I even did it on the front stage on the Raw Living Expo when we had like 300 people on the stage there, and I took out my little light bulb and I said, look, this is crystal geyser. It says right here, spring water from the glaciers, glacier spring water. And you go, that sounds pretty good, right? There's no minerals in here that are conductive. And if we don't have an acid system, meaning that our pH in our stomach will not break these minerals down into smaller minerals like plants do. Remember, plants take inorganic minerals and they turn them into what you could call plant minerals, or very small transferable electronic minerals. And so those are the minerals we're really trying to put in our side. So that's why I use magnesium on my skin, because it's not going. It's basically, I'm using it as an outside source. I get my magnesium. I get most of my minerals through plants, and that's why you want to stay away from a lot of the if the minerals will not conduct electricity. I show people. I didn't even put out one of the videos because these guys said they were going to sue me. And I heard about, I went around and I took all the bottles of minerals that everybody's buying for $30, $40, $50 a bottle, and I show that they don't have any conductivity. So why are you taking these? These are inorganic minerals. You spent $40, $50, $60. This one bottle here is $100 through multi-level. Those are the guys that were giving me problems. And this one here has a lot of good hype to it. Why? Because all the people in the multi-level marketing system there can say what they want to, and the company that's selling it doesn't get in trouble because it's all hype through the people that basically are using it. So they're not making claims. It's their people that are actually selling the stuff are making claims. And it doesn't have any conductivity, and the only reason you're taking minerals is so you can actually have conductivity and light the light bulb up. And if it doesn't produce electricity, then what are you doing? You're putting a bunch of inorganic metals or minerals inside your system that will not conduct, and it's clogging you up. It's clogging us up. It causes us to get premature aging. It causes us to get severely stiff. It causes us to have all different types of weird reactions. That's why eating meat, same thing, is not smart. And if you are going to eat meat, you have organic, grass-fed only. If not, the regular meat is full of acid, full of weird hormones, antibiotics, vaccines. Remember, every chicken is vaccinated. Okay, so it's not smart. And if you're going to go vegetarian or vegan, then you need to be able to, you have to take either some creatine monohydrate. You need creatine to be able to change the amount of creatine that you just took away from flesh, because a lot of vegetarians, you'll notice there's more vegetarians that you see than actually carnivores. That if you're a carnivore and you're an athlete versus a vegetarian and an athlete, most of them, unless they're supplementing with creatine or with eggs, fertile eggs, they're not getting the creatine and their system falls apart. You need creatine until your system knows how to be able to take. Plants have very little creatine, and creatine is the precursor to what we call power of flesh. ADP, ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Okay, this is the power of flesh, and we've had tons of creatine in our flesh, and once we cut it off, then our bodies, our intestinal whole tract shrinks because we're eating meat. Okay, and it needs to stretch out again, and sometimes it takes years for it to do that, if it'll do it at all, because we're generations of meat eaters, and our system has adapted to be able to take, because it's had such high quantities of creatine, it doesn't need a long intestinal tract. It had a super abundance of creatine, and that's why people that eat a little bit of flesh, once they've been going vegan for a while, they go, oh my God, I'm so strong again. Guys, all you got to do is make sure that you have creatine in your food, and you either take it as a supplement if you don't want to take eggs, okay, or you take it as, like I said, creatine monohydrate, and you take just 5 grams a day, 10 grams. You don't have to take a lot. A lot of bodybuilders will take creatine because basically it's like...
I take it before I do CrossFit. I put it in my protein smoothie, and then I take it after for recovery.
You got it, okay, and why? Is because that's the power that you're getting out of the flesh. And so, this is what I'm saying. All these little pieces really make sense. You put together a few of them at a time. You're not going to go ahead and, do all this at one time, but you do what makes sense to you today. The emotional body reconstruction basically is only done through number 24, chi breathing, exercise, and regenerational or regenerative techniques. And part of the regenerative techniques is the skin cleaning and guashing, the acid reduction massage and lymphatic drainage, doing yoga. Yes, I every week go to yoga twice for an hour and a half. Okay, I do a stretching class for 2 hours on Saturdays. I try to do exercise, if I can, twice a day, even in the morning for 10 minutes. I go on a small little, not just run, I go on a chi breathing run. It's just for 10 minutes. And I don't just run, I try to jump up and down and use, like if you're running in your bare feet, you don't run heel to toe, you run natural. You try to pump the lymph because the feet will pump the lymph going. And you breathe through the nose only, and what this does is this reforms the nerves, the neuronet pathways. And the neuronet pathways are what we call the freeways of our existence. And so if we're changing our existence, we need to make new pathways for the new vibration that we become. It's very simple. So this makes sense if you don't do the exercise or do the not passive exercise. I'm talking active. And you don't have to stress your body out. You need to do it with nose breathing. That's intensity. Mouth breathing. If you catch yourself doing any mouth breathing, that's just stress, and that's not doing any nerve growing. It's just stressing the emotional body out. It doesn't regrow it. Doing it through the nose, breathing through the nose, it sheds the emotional body. You can watch your own mind, basically, as you do nose breathing. Go on not just a walk, you go on a good walk, and you put a little coconut oil in your mouth with a little bit of magnesium and a drop of peppermint oil, and that's, some people call it coconut oil pulling, but you do that, and watch your thoughts. Your brain starts to clean itself out, and your mind's not even thinking. Remember, be the meditator. Meditation's watching yourself behind the scenes, and the easiest way to meditate is not just sit there in the lotus position or the Kwai Chang position. It's to be able to just watch your breath. Watch yourself breathe, and then watch your thoughts. And then in the day, you don't have to sit in a corner and meditate by yourself. Watch your feelings. Watch who you are behind the scenes, and you will see that you're multidimensional, multifractional, and there are other creatures inside the body that desire Remember, there are certain parasites that do not eat food. They live off of stress. They live off of doubt. They live off of uncertainty. They live off of fear. They live off of anger. They live off of sexuality. So these are called psychic parasites. These are energetic parasites, and they do not need food. So a lot of times we'll say, I don't feel good, I feel depressed. Well, get yourself out and go do a chi run for 10 minutes. That's it. If you got smelling stuff come out of your arm, you bring the little liquid with you and bring a little towel with you with a little magnesium, little bottle of magnesium and a little bottle of coconut oil. And as you clean your armpits out, look at the rag, and you'll notice that it's not only, you can smell it and you go, wow. And not only that, but it's got some dark material that came out because that's the sulfone hydroxyl ion coming out of the lymph. Remember, once we clean the lymph system, let's not repollute it again. And you just then when you're done with that, you clean your armpits. And on a man, if you got smelly armpits, well, between your legs, those don't smell any better. Okay, this is another lymph area. Yeah, no, it's the same. Men and women there. This needs to be cleaned around the groin. If your armpits smell, the other parts of the lymph system are also draining. And so wipe those with alcohol, and then don't leave the skin dry, because once you wipe the oil off the skin, you need to re-lubricate it. A little bit of magnesium and a little bit of coconut oil, rub your hands together, and put a drop of peppermint and or clove. And that'll usually, because remember, part of not only the sulfone hydroxyl ion is a really ugly bacteria that lives on our armpits. And if you're a guy, shave 90% of that hair off under your arms when you're doing this. You don't need that stuff there. Remember, the hair on your head, the hair on your chest, the hair between your legs, under your arms is an organ. Hair is an organ and is a detoxificational organ. And if your hair stops growing, it's only because that area that now is not being cleaned. Remember, hair analysis. When you pull out a hair, you can find out how much the hair actually detoxified that one little spot. That's what it does. It's a detoxifying organ. So we have to be very smart again and understand that our machine, our Organicus cyborgus, is very self-organizing. All we have to do is give it what it does need and take away what it doesn't, and do it for not just a week or two. Try to handle getting off garlic for 6 months. No wheat, corn, and soy for 6 months. It doesn't matter if it's organic. You want a piece of bread? Have rye. Okay, try to go gluten-free if you can, but if it's not, you have one piece. Don't gorge yourself.
Can you believe we've been talking for an hour already?
No way.
You are so fascinating. I've already, I've got to cut out onions. I'm going to cut out the onions and garlic and green onion. I eat those all the time. I'm very interested to see what happens there. You did say red onions are okay to eat?
Yeah, not red, purple. The purple onions, what you do is the purple onions have very little, if any, sulfone hydroxyl ion in them. Okay? See, in order to understand the purple onion or the white onion or the green onion or the garlic, if you don't have an EEG, and I used to do this 15 years ago to show people, put an EEG on your brain, okay? What happens when you have an orgasm? Where does the EEG, your brain signal, go? This is part of the book I'm putting together here. It's called The Metamorphosis. Okay, your brain has 4 different sectors to it. It has a delta wave, 0 to 4 cycles per second, theta, 5 to 8, alpha, 8 to 15, and beta, 15 to 40. This is the speed limit of the mind. This is the speed limit of the waves, of the sine waves, of the different parts of our transistor. Okay, so when you sleep at night, you go 4 cycles per second. See, if you have garlic, white onions and green onions, your brain is so dysfunctional, desynchronized, that you get used to it after 3 or 4 months, and you'll find out that fog will go bye-bye. So even if you want to, because remember, it is an exchange system. You don't drink beer anymore, okay? If you're going to have any alcohol, you have the tonic, the vodka tonic. You don't drink beer. You don't mix alcohol with food, ever. Alcohol is 7 calories per gram. Fat is 9 calories per gram. Carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram, and so are proteins. But when you take any alcohol in, it stops digestion of everything you have in your gut. So it's not smart. Alcohol gets burnt first, and the rest just sits there and putrefies. That's why a lot of people that drink alcohol have big extended bellies, especially guys. It's like, brother, you're a guy. How come you looks like you're 8 months pregnant?
Right, the beer gut.
That's the beer gut. That's full of different parasites that live in the intestinal wall. Full. So remember, the younger you are, and then just go over this one little part, 18 to 33 years old is the best age to learn terrain modification, is because you don't have to backpedal too much. But when you're over 33 years old, we've been sold a lot of BS down this road about all the things from big giant companies. Look at the big companies that sell lipstick. They've been putting lead in lipstick for 25 years. Okay?
Yeah.
A woman gets 11,000 tampons by the time she's 50. And they're not organic tampons. These are weird, synthetic, bleached, glue, vapors, off-gassing, and we wonder why that women have a lot of problems with the playhouse. Okay? Because that's what they call it in gynecology. It's the playhouse. Okay? And it's not playhouse for sexuality. It's the playhouse for all the critters that actually get to find a home. And that's where all these ovarian tumors come. A tumor, remember, is just a big ball of parasites. Tumor. It's certain cells that actually now have been hijacked by parasitic creatures, and they grow grow like Los Angeles in the ovary, in the cervix. And that can be caused by not just tampons, but it can be caused by any inflammation, by a variety of different reasons. But the whole picture to this idea is that, see, your ECG of your brain, okay, your body has certain types of vibrational resonance. And once we understand that there are different segments, okay, when you have an orgasm, where does your brain go? We'll just go back to this real quick. When you have an orgasm, your brain goes to 6.66 cycles on an EEG. 666.
That's delta?
This is theta. Theta is the reset stage.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Delta's the sleeping stage. And in order for us to sleep, that's why you got to get out of Wi-Fi. If you have Wi-Fi in your house, shut that stuff off at night. You don't need it on at night. Shut it down. On my house, I have a switch that I shut my whole electrical system down around my bed. I don't want any electricity around my bed. Okay, I ground myself to the ground with a 10-foot bar into the ground, and I sleep not at 4 cycles per second. That's REM sleep, rapid eye movement. That means you're in the astral plane. Your eyes are going back and forth, and they're going, whoa, there's a lot of stuff in here. And then when you get down to 3 cycles per second, that's deeper sleep. 2 cycles per second, even better. 1 cycle, now you're going to get some grounding. You're going to get some sleep. You're going to get some resetting. So when we want to become smart, our brains need to become in the beta stage. The beta stage is basically 15 to 40 cycles per second. And microbes hate this layer. They hate it. So they'll try to keep us down into the 6 and 7 cycle range, because that's where they live. Remember, microbes and parasites live in red, orange, and yellow, the colors. They also live in the cycles per second, or the sine wave areas of energy of 6 and 7 cycles per second. 6 cycles per second between your legs. That's survival, sexuality, scarcity, okay? All those types of S's. And 7 cycles is your stomach, which is food. 8 cycles is your heart. And if you're activated at 8 cycles, it doesn't mean you're there all the time, because you do get hungry and you do have maybe sexuality and scarcity. So this is like this multi-oscillating chakra channel changer, and it changes the frequency in the brain. So our job is to be able to have as many chakras as we can activated, but never be ruled by one. Okay? So,
absolutely.
Yeah. How much time more do we have to... Do we have more to play?
We're wrapping it up here. It's amazing. I mean, it's incredible how long I just could listen to you. Literally, I've said this many times, but you are just so fascinating. I love how you really inspire me to be my own science experiment, which is what you're telling us to do. Try these things. Don't just take them in and say, oh, wow, that's out there, but to really, take what feels, vibrates, feels meaningful for us and do it. And boy, you sure inspire me to do that. I've taken my laptop off my lap. I've just drank a bunch of water, and I'm not going to put onion or eat garlic with my lunch today. I love to see how these things, because I'm doing a lot of I'm 99% raw vegan. I exercise. I drink good water. I go out and breathe good air. And so these, taking it to the next level, that's what you're sharing with us. We've got the diet, we've got the water, all that, taking it really, getting those neural net pathways humming. I mean, this stuff is really valuable. So I'm just so grateful to you for inspiring me and everybody listening to take these, these next level pieces and incorporate them, and just fascinating stuff.
Now you took the laptop off your waist, okay? Off the laptop. Who came up with these names? Laptop. I'm going to put it on my lap. And you never notice if you watch any television movie, and the bigger they are, the more that they will never show anybody ever using a cord. Never. They put the phone up to their head, which is like, it makes me cringe every time someone does that, especially if their mouth is full of amalgam fillings, aluminum oxide fillings, which are porcelain, okay? That is utterly crazy. Utterly crazy. Now, in order to, let's go, you took it off your lap, the laptop, and what you do now is to fix that. I showed this to Dave Wolf and all these guys because they all had their laptops, and I did one of his lectures over there to the best weekend ever. I talked at that place for like 5 hours. And the same thing, I went over to a couple of the guys there because, remember, we're all trying to learn from each other. We're not trying to go ahead and show how, dysfunctional sometimes we are, many different things. But there's so much to learn. So how do you fix the laptop? You buy yourself a mouse, and you buy a keyboard for $10 a piece, and you plug those into the computer, the laptop, and you push that thing away from you. And now you use the keyboard on, because your hands on that keyboard is 100 milligauss, and that's why they feel like they go numb after a while. Even, remember, the cleaner you become, the more sensitive you start to feel. Okay? And the sicker you are, people say, well, I don't feel a thing. It's like, of course, take your clothes off. Look in the mirror. You're full of insulation. And what's insulation? Yeast, mold, and fungus. You'll notice that a ton of vegans and a ton of vegetarians, they're still very overweight. Remember, it's not overweight, it's toxic. Their system's clogged. Now, I always tell people, you're not fat, guys. Quit telling that to yourself and quit feeling sorry for yourself. You're plugged. You're demineralized. Your flow needs to be opened up. Let me show you how to do it. It's really easy. You're already on the program right now. It's just the next thing is to open up the skin. Open up the skin pores and let the pus out. Of course you're going to bruise a little bit. Of course you're going to, remember, this is a 6-month metamorphosis adventure just for the first phase. So you've already been doing a ton of this stuff, but now you can see, just like you said, terrain modification makes it so anybody can jump in. And even if you want to keep eating meat, then you go to organic and you go to grass-fed. And all of a sudden, let's say you don't want to change this or that, then go from pork and go to beef. Even if you didn't even change, if you're still buying meat from Costco, you don't eat pork. Pork is filthy. The animal there eats poop. It's full of the Ascaris lumbricoides, full of these earthworms because it eats the dirt, it eats the eggs, its stomach. I used to go ahead and pull, because I used to study pigs. I have 6 of them right now, boars. And they're pretty neat because we are 85% human DNA to the pig. The pig is 85% human DNA, and we are 85% pig DNA. That's why they can use pig valves. That's why you can use pieces off the pig for the human. So don't eat the pig, because the pig is actually, like the Jewish religious groups say, it's an unclean piece of flesh. That animal is not worthy to eat because it's dirty. Okay, it eats. I have big turtles here. My boar Nanu, my little baby. She's so muddy. She loves laying in the mud. Turtles poop, and she eats the turtle poop just to taste it. Okay. So but she's such a lovable animal, and this is the biggest problem. We eat flesh, and whatever lives into the flesh will actually, if it can, will want to live in us. And again, I could talk for hours. So most of the lectures I do are 2-3 hours for a reason. It's just because we got to pull full circle, be able to stimulate, say some things, and then simple solutions, and try to tie it all together. And then we have hundreds of different videos on YouTube. EarthShiftProject.com is our lifestyle community. Earthshift Project YouTube is our YouTube channel, and we also have an Earthshift Study Group YouTube channel, and a drrobertcassar.com. That's just information that we just sort of pull off the internet. And we also have this private school, student school, no authorities, where we share information that is very not sensitive, but it's advanced, and it's sort of dysfunctional to what we have been told. So this is where that's Earther Academy, EARTHER Academy.com, and that's not open yet, but people can come and sign up there. It's only going to be $20 a month, for 6 months. And then I give everybody back their money anyways, because I give them $20 off at the student store, Earthshift, and $100 off at our other student store. So, it's not to charge people money. You have to have it's like the church, as I was told. The church only speaks within its doors, and this information is not made for the public forum, because what you're doing is you're going against the theme of billion-dollar companies. Remember, who puts aluminum silicates in your salt, in your underarm deodorant? Puts aluminum silicates in your lotion? Who's putting fluoride in your water supply? Who's putting fluoride in your new car smell? And your diet pills? Fluoride in Prozac, Zoloft, and Paxil. Mercury fillings in your mouth. These are all things. Why do we cut off the tips of our children's peepees and cut off 100 trillion neural nets? Come on, it doesn't make sense. But it does if you were here controlling this group of people we call human. Remember, most of the information that we see has to be, this is the year, I'll say one thing before we go away here. The year of 2014 is the year that we start to now see and have discretion. We don't believe. Believe, if you pull that word apart, it says L-I-E in the middle, and so we investigate, and we don't believe a thing, because we now have power in a group. And the group, of course, is how we sift through a lot of this information, is because it's not coming just from me. It's not coming from you. It's coming from all of us together. Our highest movement here is to collectively move the collective. We can't do it on our own, as the Jesus parable says. As of my own self, I cannot do anything or can't do much. But us in a group, and this is what the Earther Academy is about, we're just students. We're not here to take third graders, fourth graders, or fifth graders, or sixth graders. I don't want to say being mean, but they're wasting my time. They got to do more homework. We're here to take the 7th graders, junior high, 8th graders, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and see if we can get them to come into college. I'm just a freshman in college, and at my level, I know nothing. And in my level, where I'm at right now, it took a lot of work to get here, because it's personal work. Remember, this is something where you have to do the homework. Do your homework series is on your own self.
Absolutely. Well, you're an amazing example of really committing to being your best self, and we just love you so much, and I appreciate you taking your time and your energy and your love for all of us and sharing what you know and what you've experienced. And I can't wait for part 3. We'll go into 25, 26, and 27 of the terrain modification, so we've got something fun to look forward to. And that's going to be, again, the last Thursday of, that'll be April. And, boy, thank you so much, Dr. Cassar. It's been a pleasure again, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.
All right. We went over our time lap, but we did last time about 15 minutes, too.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening in. Be well, and we'll see you again soon.
If anybody does have any questions, they can give me a direct email to Dr. drrobertcassar@gmail.com. That's the way
Super.
to be able to. And what I do is I try to go ahead. The questions that we have, we don't answer people directly, but we do videos and different things for the group, so that it's a group effort instead of just a one-on-one. Because I don't do consultations with anybody, but it's group effort, not personal power. Yeah, it's group power here.
Well, deep gratitude to you for making yourself available to all of us. We love you, and everybody be well, and happy spring.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Thank you, and it goes right back to you, too, because without you doing this, okay, come on. Well, I wouldn't be here either, so pat yourself on the back, please.
All right, be well.
All right, aloha. Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Important reminder. All information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.